Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's 2v2 ladder action this afternoon, with a couple of pros going down on diversity, minus the equity and inclusion. And this will be Team 1 on the left, and this will be Team 2 on the right. First of all, though, while these guys are setting up shop, I just wanted to do my little promotional spiel. It's been a while since I've done it. Guys, if you are new to the channel, and indeed the game, you like what you're looking at, but you're not 100% sure what it is you are looking at, the game is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, not, I repeat, not Supreme Commander 2. It's available on Steam for £9 UK or $13 US, something like that. And once you have the game installed, you need to come and download the Forged Alliance Forever multiplayer client, and you can find a link to that in the description below this video. It's crucial that you don't miss that step. That is where we all play. Yes, there are a couple of hundred people that play regularly on Steam, but they're not part of the main multiplayer community. That's to be found here. This is where the game is continually rebalanced, modded, upgraded, all the rest of it. You've got replay vaults, mob vaults, map vaults, all thrown in there free of charge once you make the initial outlay for the game. Best money you can ever spend, trust me, if you're into RTS. Anyway, let's make our introductions now, since they've got all set up with their initial plays. We'll call this Team 1 on the left, as we said. There's Team 2 on the right. Going first for Team 1, in the rear, but in a good way, it's Taffy. There he is, going UEF, opening first land in baby blue. And his teammate today on the front lines in electric blue is the Doctor. There he is, going Seraphim, opening first land, going second air. Let's check out Team 2 now, starting with another UEF. First of all, in burgundy red, we've got Tynet. He's going first land. And his partner in crime today down here to the southeast, another Seraphim. It's Epic Bennis, and he's going first land in Ferrari red. So it is a UEF Seraphim mirror matchup. What have we got here? Little mech marine inbound for Taffy, ready to make a royal nuisance of himself. There he goes, wandering up towards the woodland here. Damage. Oh, look, you see the roots just blink on there? Sometimes they do that when you scroll in out of nowhere. Look like they're going to sprout legs and go somewhere. When the woods move from Dunsinane to Boreham Wood, is it? No, that's in Hertfordshire. That would have been a long detour for Macbeth from Scotland. Anyway, I digress. I should have been a bard, shouldn't I, really? But yes, first kill, first blood by the looks of things there for Taffy. But oh dear, poor old Bernard manages to slaughter an engineer, but doesn't get to tell the tale to anybody because runs into a com that takes 2 shots, 1 to land, 2 dispatch him. Another mech marine moving in the opposite direction for Tynet. Looks like he might be heading up towards the top left-hand corner. Yes, he might bag himself an engineer kill. Well, you can see he's actually going to go up there first and then move down. You see, it's a trade-off. You can go up there and bag yourself an engineer kill, but you're not going to be very disruptive because that is on the end of a build chain. So you're not really going to end up cancelling much. But it looks like he's coming further to the south anyway. And another potential engineer kill on the cards here for Taffy over at the top of the map. There it is. Mech Marines locked onto him. Oh, some very nice factory build maneuvers, though, from said engineer, trying to impede the progress. Oh, if he just carried on moving, he might have managed it because reinforcements were moving up. But alas, the Mech Marine does kill the engineer. It doesn't really disrupt building programs too much. I suppose he might have been finishing off these mass extractors here. So potentially Tynet held back a little bit by that, but not in any great way, shape, or form. Has this managed to bag any kills? Oh, when are they going to sort this out? A little bit of a visual bug. Things keep getting upgraded, as I say, but I don't actually know if this is a feature on the game. It probably isn't. It's purely on the replay side of things from the Observer, but yeah, that is something that I'm sure will get fixed in the near future. T1 bomber inbound now for the Doctor, but I think this is their first aerial pass. It is indeed. You can see they have discovered nothing on this side of the map as yet, so without a scout plane, he's going to likely miss out on potential engineer kills here as he hovers over the infrastructure here belonging to Bennis and going straight up towards the main base, of which there is a big old clump of engineers right here. Look at that. That was a missed opportunity. He has hung a huge Louis. Might be coming in for a second run at this. If he lands, ground fires a bomb in here, that would be very clutch. Bag himself potentially 4 or 5 kills, but no, goes after the 2 on the left-hand side. And now we actually have a mobile anti-air unit on the field. Oh, and now the scout plane comes in, but immediately gets himself shot down. So a little bit clunky start there. You want to go for the bomber ASAP to inflict maximum damage. Where is that air factory? It was the one he started with. There we go. But Typically best to get a scout plane out with it, so probably best to go scout plane first, a dime a dozen really. No harm in getting the scout plane out first and then going for the bomber. It can increase your efficiency to no end, but these players are far better than I, so who am I to criticize them, except the one that you all watch. To make them look like they're worse than they actually are, whilst I sit here drinking lager. I'm not, it's midday. Questions would be asked. Tynet moving forward with his comm meanwhile, and a little bit of a saucy run by on the way here. There was an engineer building some wall sections to the north, just off this little lake, which serves no real purpose in the game other than a big old space to hide a commander in, and also gives actually some amphibious or units that like to trundle along the bottom, gives them some cover while they can spring up on the other side of the map to cause no end of problems. Comms are all largely in the centre now, in an area which does have a decent number of mass points, incidentally. We didn't get a chance to talk about diversity, but we have been here many times before. But there's a decent number of mass points, so if you can hold this position, you can accrue some decent eco. Of course, if you are sitting in the centre here, you're only a stone's throw away from your enemy's base anyway, so the game might not have many legs left in it. Forward air factory production has ceased as Taffy turns up with his comm, strikers in tow, looking to take this position offline, starting with the hydro, no doubt moving on to the air factory next. Beach Tynet has also moved his comm forward, but it looks like he might be moving back now, perhaps concerned by the progress Taffy has been making. On the south side, the Doctor and Bennis look like they might be passing each other. Doctor perhaps moving down here to bag some of this reclaim. Reclaim on this map largely favouring the forward player on each team. I don't know if it's still the case. It's probably been hoovered up mostly, but there are some big piles. You can see a 600 still in there and 300 further back. So there's some decent piles to be had, but especially around the forward player. Tynet now bringing his comm into the fray. Taffy also entering the combat area. Eco-wise, Team 2 ahead by about 10 mass per tick. And they're also up 3k overall. Reclaim-wise, they've bagged 1.5k extra so far. Lots and lots of blue strikers in play, and Ty needs to be a bit careful here. Down into the yellow now, 8,200 hit points. Indeed, he's going to start drifting northwards, slowly working on taking these down. Annoyingly, I can't see the vet situation because of this icon malfunction in the bottom left-hand corner. He's probably... oh, he has got one rank in veteran, so you can see the star. I just can't see the progress to the next one. Doctor and Bennis, meanwhile, not sitting on top of each other as yet. That's a very aggressive location for an upgrade. For those of you new to the game, rooted to the spot while you upgrade your comm, so he can't go anywhere unless he cancels that and loses all of the resources which he invested into it so far. Taffy slowly moving southeasterly, and there are some assist pings down here, probably from the Doctor telling Taffy to, and actually the Doctor's moving up here. You can see gun upgrade cancelled. I did think that that was an aggressive place to set up shop for an upgrade, all by his lonesome, very little local support in the area. That was a low probability play, but made the right decision there, I think. If Taffy and the Doctor continued on that trajectory, he probably wasn't going to get out of it alive. Tynet is moving in towards the centre. He probably likely wouldn't have got there in time. Now he has linked up with his teammate, and that is the situation as it stands. Largely 50-50 map control. No one in charge of any mass point positions in the centre of the map. Team 1 have actually moved ahead on eco now, 82 to 77. They're behind in total eco by quite some margin. They're down 7k overall. I imagine that puts the reclaim picture heavily in Team 2's favour. Yes, it does. 9.9k to 4.9k. That is massive. How does the wider picture look? Well, hard to tell. Doesn't look like there's been a huge amount hoovered up from the starting mass. Of course, new mass being deposited all the time in the form of wrecked hardware lying strewn about the field. And now we're going to get a second attempt at an upgrade, and this time it's Tynet who's going after it. He's also going for a gun upgrade. Wonder if Bennis will make a second attempt towards the upgrade himself in just a second. And the Doctor going for a gun upgrade. And both of the... Oh, and a gun upgrade on the way for Taffy. 67% done there, so all the upgrades coming in thick and fast now. Tynet wasting no time after completing the gun upgrade, going for nano repair. So we're in for some serious commander action, which is one of the fun things about this map. And Bennis now going for an upgrade finally on his commander, skipping the gun upgrade at the moment, going straight for regen aura. T2 upgrade next up for the Doctor, who's completed his gun. It's going to be a huge amount of firepower out on the field before too long. Taffy looking pretty strong at the moment, relatively close to full health, absorbing some T1 tank fire here, but got the extended range on that cannon now. Able to pick off some of these units without exposing himself to too much danger. And now Ty with a regen of 56 hit points a second and the upgraded gun re-entering combat. What's happening in the main bases at the moment? We have T2 land in play for the Doctor. Still... oh no, we do have T2 land as well for Taffy. I imagine we'll be in a similar situation over on the other side of the field. Is anybody... yeah, there's the T2 lands. Anybody gone T2 air just to mix things up? Not as yet. T2 land across the board, it looks like, for all of our players here. Taffy getting aggressive. And to compare the difference of that nano repair that Tynet now has, Tynet's got 56 hit points a second regen. Taffy, with the base regen, is at 16 hit points a second. So a sizable difference in sustainability. All about the lefty buzzwords today with sustainability and diversity. Tynet down to about 2/3 of his health, at about just shy of 9,000 hit points. Bennis saying back a little bit, doesn't like how things are progressing on that side of things. Starting to see some T2 tanks on the front line now. Look at this. Riptide, Pillar, Sparky Engineer up front. Tynet now down to 50% health. But Ilshiva's coming in behind Taffy. Probably wants to turn around and blap that. Engineers saying enough's enough over here. Going to start erecting some static defences. Closing off this whole area. Wouldn't be a bad shout. The Doctor slowly advancing forward. Has some T2 units in tow. Bennis. 20 hit point a second regen with his regen aura. Of course, that will assist all local friendly troops. And a bit of a point defense creep on the way here from Taffy. Slowly moving up with those Sparky Engineers. Eco-wise, 110 to 106 in favour of Team 2, who are ahead by about 15k or so. 14, 15k. 7,000 hit points out of 12,000 for Bennis. Proper gutter war loading between these four players. Have a quick look at T2 ground production. 4 T2 factories in the main base for Bennis. And of course the HQ, which is further over here to the south. Tynet.
Commander under attack.
4 for him. And the T2 HQ, which is over here. But we have got T2 Air now. Seeing quite so many T2 factories over here. In fact, I don't think I see a single T2 factory other than the HQ for Taffy. As we have a little bit more of a T2 commitment from the Doctor. In fact, I think we have 2 HQs, interestingly enough, and 2 regulars. Serious push, though, underway from the Doctor and from Taffy. Bennis in a spot of bother here, sub 2k HP. Ilshiva's in the area. The Doctor just needs to focus him down. I'm not sure why he's not doing it. He's got him by the balls. Turn around and finish him off. 2,100 hit points. Assist pings going down, presumably from Taffy, trying to tell his teammate to kill him off. Kill, says Taffy. No, says the Doctor. Why? Why? Obviously, full share is on. But I don't really see why you wouldn't have wanted to take the kill there. Neither does Taffy, by the look of things. Can't wait to hear the reasoning behind this. I think that was a horrible error. Get that extra player off the field. And force Tynet to cover both fronts all by his lonesome. Tynet, who also is looking a little bit peaky despite that nano repair and despite 3 ranks in veterancy and a regen of 68 hit points a second now. Didn't think we could kill, so that was just a flat out error there. You really could have killed. Like, I have no doubt that you could have got the kill there. Oof. Have Team 1 just thrown that away? Answers in the comment section below. And while you're down there, love, smash ye old like button. Helps the algorithm. Helps the game, the community. Most important, helps my sense of worth. Taffy's troops taking PD fire on the beach. Decide to relocate. Really just need to take that puppy out. Just faring really well, except for the wall sections that were guarding it, that seemed to be absorbing all the fire, doing the job that they were meant for, of course. And now, this break in hostilities is allowing Taffy to get his second upgrade. He's going for nano repair. I can't get over this, though. Bennis has repped up very nicely indeed. He's actually got the nano repair as well as the regen aura now. That's up to 86 hit point a second regen. And now he's got 10,700 hit points on the clock on that comm. I think this has been a huge error by the Doctor. They definitely could have scored the kill there. Missed opportunity. Bennis up to 11,000. Taking some point defense fire, though. Probably doesn't want to continue on that trajectory. Needs to move out and take a different tack, but goodness me, the range on those. Have they boosted that range? That seems very significant to me. I need to go and check the database again to see if they've beefed that up. seems very significant. The Doctor, double upgraded, moves in with his comm. Starts to take out some of this Ilsheva spam. Bennis, who's now up into the green at 13,000 HP, starts engaging the Doctor. The Doctor, at full health, has 17,000 though, thanks to that T2 engineering suite that he went for. Now we're entering main engagement number 2 by the looks of things. A lot of spam coming in from both Team 2 into the center, both of Team 2's players. Tynet getting himself an upgrade. What's he going for? He's starting shield. A little bit of a buffer zone. More personal buffer in his HP. Doctor absorbing a huge amount of Ilsheva fire initially there. Drops down to about 11,000 HP. Bennis moving at a tangent away from his enemy initially, but staying just at arm's length so that he can continue to whittle down the number of Ilshevas. Oh, look at this. Bennis looking borderline unstoppable right now with this beefy comm. Needs to move in and take down these PDs. Second one, or third one I should say, going up just behind them. Bennis cannot allow this to continue. He must start taking these down. There's one. Engineers need to be followed up on. Indeed they are. Second PD down and out. Taffy coming in from the north though, sensing his teammates under pressure. Look at that, Bennis already repped up the damage he just sustained. 4-starred commander, just shy of 20k HP now. Eco-wise, Team 1 are comfortably ahead, 225 to 156. Tynet with his new personal shield is going on the rampage now, testing the front line of Taffy, who's going to probably have to back up to defend this. Where's the Doctor? He's still applying pressure from the south, but Taffy could get taken out here if Tynet and Bennis push equally hard at the same time. Taffy, sensing the danger, continues to retreat. 5,000 hit points left on the comm, but the forward base has been obliterated. New lines of defences are being drawn up further to the west. The Doctor is going to have to come in and assist. Oh no! Gunships suddenly arrive. We saw the T2 air factory a while ago, but this is the scene. This first time we're seeing them brought into any meaningful effect. Turns out it wasn't actually that meaningful. They had no escort detail of their own whatsoever, and T1 interceptors who were lying in wait belonging to the Doctor just pounce on them and blow them all out of the sky. But the story of the moment is the amount of territory that Taffy is being forced to yield. That secondary front line is going to get torn apart long before it's completed. Taffy now at 5-star commander. No more ranks in veterancy to restore extra chunks of HP coming his way. Bennis and Tynet fighting fully in tandem at this point. The Doctor occupied by continuous flows of Ilshevas that seem to be coming in from the southeast. And now Team 2's comms are diverging. Bennis moving back in to engage the Doctor potentially. Is Tynet going to move with him? Unclear as yet. Eco-wise, total is beginning to normalise again. 197 to 210. Team 1 up overall by 20k. That's not too shabby considering. Taffy back up to 15k HP. And he's transitioned to T3 land and has turned up with a bunch of Titans. Bennis says back, we need T3. They have some, just not any on the front line. Does Bennis have access to T3? A lot of paused buildings. Does that mean he's upgrading? Where was his HQ? It was down here. And he's working on it. 90% done. So that explains the fall off in unit presence for Team 1. They were rushing T3, and now we're seeing T3 materialize on the front line. Will Team 2 be able to hold them back? That's the question. Certainly will if they just roll up in range of the point defense and don't go in to engage it. The Doctor finally moving those siege tanks back. Then all was relatively quiet again. We're getting a little bit of skirmishing going on, but really front lines have barely moved. Team 2 briefly in charge of the mass down through the center, but they're about to be destroyed. Although Titans struggling with the terrain elevation. Look at this though, saucy little Ilshiva maneuver. We've got, well, we had a couple in there and one up here at the top. And all of these have been destroyed, so apologies for missing that, but we've had a nice old run by of a party of Ilshivas of some size, which has managed to take down at least 5 mass points so far, perhaps soon to be 6, all T2s, and Taffy actually languishing back on 71 mass per tick. And that puts Team 1 comfortably behind in terms of generative eco, and the totals are leveled, or have been, with Team 2 about to go in front. Goodness me, this game's back and forth. And a switch up again. This time to some sniper bot play. Testing what is now the forward outpost belonging to Bennis. Thrown down a shield gen, covering this line of T2 PDs. A lot of build capacity under here. He could properly establish a fortification nightmare if he decides to make the expenditure. But now we're seeing T3 turn up on the front line for Team 2 in sizable quantities. That's a lot of Titans. I'm surprised actually we're not seeing the inclusion of some Percys in there, since they're well aware that Team 1 beat them to Tech 3. Shield upgrade on the way for Taffy. Wondering if they were going to push here and force a deny, but that is too close to completion. Doesn't look like they were intending to commit either way. Nano repair started for the Doctor. Obviously struggling to contend with the sheer regenerative capability of his mirror here. Bennis is, although it's technically not his mirror is actually Tynet, but the one he's squaring off against is Bennis, isn't it? That's the one he's fighting. We've got a line of T1 factories down here on the beach, and now we've got some amphibious play en route. That's a lot of T3 spam coming in through the beach. That will probably lead to the demise of this position and threaten all of this up here, although this is where we have the forward HQ, and that's currently producing Othams of its own. And a repair 85% done, climbing swiftly there for the Doctor. Taffy yet to recover from this wonderful run by, really has set him back, still on 86 mass per tick. Can Tynet capitalize? Certainly not playing it aggressively at the moment. He can crush this forward army. He can outproduce Taffy. And now we're starting to see the inclusion of some Percys. Tynet taking some fire. And is this Bennis going up to assist? Are we going to get another 2v1 situation? The time for that passed slightly. The Doctor has completed his nano repair. Now triple upgraded. We've also got Percy's on the field for Taffy. His personal shield is nearly depleted. Tynet with some nice mobile shield coverage. Tynet's personal shield also looking pretty depleted right here. Scary looking Seraphim Com. These little side plays, of course, kicking off. There's a T1 PD put on each side of the camber of this little island. Neither of which is much of any use. Nice little run by at the beach, though, by Taffy. A lot of point defense in this area, though. I'm not sure how much is going to be left, if any, by the time they chomp their way through these defenses. Ah, look at that. That Titan was nearly dead, and they took their eye off the ball. Taffy absorbing some fire on the commander. Personal shield still not depleted, though. And the Othams that moved in this direction successfully took out these T1 land factories. But I guess were counterbalanced by the next round of Othams coming out from Bennis. There's the reclaim lime in situation to our players. Well, there's actually a decent amount of reclaim, mostly on Team 1's side. That will be an advantage going forward. Team 1, who are now neck and neck once again in generative eco. Taffy having recovered somewhat, still short stacking the field on 117 mass per tick. But working on re-establishing T2 mexes up here. Still one more to go. A lot of scout planes on the field. Not a lot in terms of air-to-ground weaponry, though. Hardly any has been deployed in this game. We saw that ill-fated gunship expedition from Tynet that came to nothing. That forward outpost for Bennis now double-shielded. Still just with T2 shield gens, but better than nothing. We've even got some Seraphim PDs up on the ridge here, but again, not quite sighted in the best position. Just a smidge further forward, and they'll be able to fire over the brow of that hill, but unfortunately, set just a little bit too far back. 33 minutes gone, and we're still yet to see any real movement in this game, but that might be a game changer. The Doctor with the first experimental on the field. Are any others under construction anywhere else? Well, certainly not from Team 2. And Bennis in range somehow of that Ithota. Gets under shield coverage, but really does need to make a run for it. There are a lot of siege tanks here, though. The Ithota doesn't want to find himself stuck in the middle of them. Wants to pick them off at range, which is what he's doing. Brings his own Othams to bear. Bennis is going to hang about here, which I'm really surprised. He's got the regen aura, which is probably what he wants to use to help tank this, but it's really not going to work. That Ithota hasn't taken any damage yet. It is at full health, and all it has to do is switch up to engage the comm, and this is game over for Bennis, but Bennis seems locked onto this course of action. I don't think it's going to end well for him at all. His hit points plummet. That was a terrible decision. Absolutely horrible. He says Keck, but I suppose that some way redresses the balance. He was lucky to get out of it earlier over here when the Doctor looked like he had him by the balls but let him off the hook completely. Thota's still going, although for how much longer, who can say. Sub 10k HP now. Those shield gens for Tynet now, providing some shelter for the Ilshivers, but it gets one more death ball of plasma out before it dies, which takes out most of the Ilshivers, and that's the end of that little attack. And I think the Doctor will be happy with that. Finally gets his kill against Bennis. Tynet now has to fare all by his lonesome. He has got an eco advantage though. It's 405 mass versus 327 of the combined players on Team 1. But there's a second Ethota. Is that the order of play now for the Doctor? Is he just going to go spamming experimental assault bots? Not a terrible decision. A lot of pressure coming Taffy's way. He's got some of his own Percys, but the shielding down here is merely T2. Doesn't last long under that huge alpha strike. Tynet, I think, wisely assessing he doesn't quite have the numbers to break that position. And not only that, the majority of his forces up here concentrated up in the north. Now there's another Ethota moving in. He does have some siege tanks coming out of his factories at what was Bennis's old base. They're going to take some time to get up to the front line. I'm wondering if the Doctor is going to push deep to take out Bennis's base, or if he's going to move up to try and hit Tynet's comm. Tynet has brought those Percys he was just using to assault Taffy's position down to the south. If he can meet them up with the siege tanks, he should be able to deal with this army now. Question is, can he translate this mass advantage into weaponry on the ground? Very, very difficult when you're under pressure in multiple locations. APM is at a premium. Tynet taking fire from Percival's personal shield gone. But there we go. Some broadswords show up on the scene. Is there any air force to speak of on Team 1's side of things? No, there is not. However, lovely little run by, or rather under the sea by, maneuver from Taffy. Two Percivals rolling up, massacring T3 mass extractors up here. And this is really cutting into Tynet's mass advantage. Oh, but Taffy's been locked onto by the broadswords. Can he get enough mobile flak to the scene? We have got skyboxers inbound. Taffy's personal shield down to 10,000 hit points. But the broadswords haven't kept up their assault. They recognise the threat of the inbound flak. They drifted back. They took care of a couple of inbound spearhead launchers. But look at Taffy's front line. This is now an open door to the main base. However, there is pressure on the ground. That Ethota moving up on Bennis's old base. We're going to have to go to split screen. Keep an eye on these two theatres. Taffy making a play for his main base, but there's no shield coverage back there. There is, however, build capacity working on point defense, but the Ethota for the Doctor has reached Bennis's old base, a base that is wide open for attack here. And the Percivals coming in towards Taffy are coming in single file, many of them partially damaged already. Taffy's shield still holding around the 10k region, and every few seconds or so, or every 15 seconds, these engineers are spamming together a new triad, and that's the end of that little attack. And this is the end of Bennis's old base. Taffy might have been forced all the way back here, but he's going to hold on to his main base, I believe. And look at the mass totals now. Suddenly Tynet is behind 281 to 331 after losing Bennis's base after the lovely little maneuver up here at the top with those 2 Percivals from Taffy. Going back to single screen as the threat seems to have passed for Taffy. Took some damage on the comm, down to 14,000 HP out of 20k. But now look at this. There is an open door up towards Tynet's base. And I think that is going to be game. Once Tynet loses his main base, he will be without any real options. Oh, and another Ethota coming in through Taffy's base. I like that maneuver from the Doctor. Sending it in from this position to help secure. He's using some defenses around this position now. So Taffy was working on securing the area. It's a very different picture, really, than what we've seen over here. But I think it was vulnerable to attack from this position. There's the GG, because he just hadn't faced any attacks all game, and that's simply what happens. A lot of the time you react, and if your opponent isn't applying pressure, it's not something you think about, because you think they haven't thought about it. GGs are out, but Tynet as yet not capitulating. All the sniper bots sitting at range over here, slowly getting beat down by broadswords, but now we have ASFs covering the field. There is literally no play, hasn't been a play for some time for Tynet. He did manage to squeeze out an Ethota of his own. That's actually looking pretty healthy right now. But the next one surely can't be far off. Indeed it isn't. You can see all the build capacity moving in to try and get this done so that the Doctor can shut this down. This will be what this will be what Tynet is hanging around for. Just waiting to see how this comes out. Entering the main base area now. Production still a ways off on that. Lightning tanks moving in to engage. The Doctor might lose his base. He's already pulled his commander out, but now it's Taffy's turn to assist with base defense, moving in with some Percivals. Ethota for Tynet, sub 50k, sub 50% HP. Getting himself right in the center to make a royal nuisance. Causing so much damage, but there is the Ethota that went out to defend up there. It must have been pulled back. Tynet pulling his comm into the water, but his base is gone. 42 minutes. All Tynet's got left is this position over here. That's where he's building Ethotas from. He's not far off having another one done as it happens. Wow, the Doctor's base well and truly pillaged by that Ethota. It's now 305 to 112. There is no way back at this point for Tynet. He's squeezed out another Ethota, started work on the next. Brave coming up back in the face of a bunch of sniper bots. Sniper bots, of course, much less accurate when they're moving, but this is low on lateral movement, so it's going to be hard for them to miss. Tynet recognizes the threat, does a little pirouette, and then withdraws. I think that's sensible. Half his shield gone in 2 volleys. He's sticking around. He's got another Ethota, of course, which you'd love to see unleash some damage. There is another one inbound through the center from the Doctor. Of course, there are 2 down here now defending this southern approach. So there's no way for this to end well. P-Gen's going up. Ideally, Team 1 want to get in here before he can squeeze another one of these out. Just takes forever for these forces to traverse all of this open terrain. Tynet moving through this pond now with his comm, maybe looking to make one last ditch hero move on towards the northern base of Taffy. The Doctor looking to destroy this position, and that Ithota not far off, but he's going to start losing reactors now. 3,000 power, and he's going to start losing engineers, crucially, which will slow up production. Can the Doctor prevent this from being completed? Moving up just a little bit further would allow him to fire those huge plasma AoEs, which would take care of all these engineers much quicker. And in come the sniper bots behind. Tynet's about to emerge from the water and move up on Taffy's northern base. Percy's coming in from Taffy from the east. That Ithota will not complete. Last engineer working on it has been destroyed. Where was the Ithota belonging to Tynet? There it is. Running into two of his kind. Gets itself back underwater, but it's badly, badly damaged. And that old base of Bennis's has finally gone. Tynet finding himself engaged by Percival's up north. Personal shield almost gone. He's even got a couple of stingers on him. Personal shield has now depleted. He's into the yellow. Sub 12k HP. More stingers show up, taking loads of fire. And that is all she wrote at 46 minutes and 36 seconds. Team 1 emerged victorious from a clean sweep. I tell you what, I thought that was going to be the end of a very, very unlucky game. I say unlucky, I mean that was an error. He should have had Bennis. The Doctor should have had Bennis early doors. He let him off the hook there. And when you see that happen, sometimes you just think, I bet that is going to be the play, the move that they regret. And Team 2 end up coming back. And it looked like it was moving that direction when they had the mass points in the center. They were in the ascendancy. But Team 1 managed to pull it back. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. Do check out the Patreon. Base level of support at $1 a month gets you access to the premium ad-free casts, of which I think there are about 102 now. So do check that out, guys. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.